When Inam and Jinho first met, they were so connected through their knowledge that for a moment it felt like time stopped. But was their bond only about learning, or was there more to it? Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of OC, known for its vast collection of healing herbs, lived a 32-year-old woman named Inam. Though she was beautiful and came from a respected family, Inam had never married, which was unusual for her age in a traditional society. In her younger years, she had several suitors, but none could hold her interest. Despite her beauty, the men were often intimidated by her intelligence and curiosity. Inam's late father, Awu, had been a well-traveled scholar, exploring the world in search of knowledge. With each return, he brought ancient books for her and shared stories of distant lands. When her mother passed away, Awu retired early to care for his daughter and to educate her. Within their modest home, he taught her various subjects, from English to history and beyond. "There is so much to see outside our village," he would say, filling her with dreams of a world she might never see. When Awu passed away, Inam felt as though the ground had been taken from under her feet. Her father had been her mentor, her guide, and her closest confidant. With him gone, she found comfort in the books he left behind, immersing herself in their pages daily. As Inam grew older, suitors continued to approach her, enchanted by her beauty. But once they began talking to her, they realized that Inam was curious and far more knowledgeable than they were used to. Her intelligence often made them feel uneasy, and they would quickly lose interest. When she spoke of things like how tree branches resemble the structure of human lungs, her suitors would become confused, expecting discussions on domestic matters rather than science. Eventually, Inam resigned herself to the idea that she would remain unmarried, and she decided to use her time to educate the village children. However, many of the villagers did not approve. Some mothers even discouraged their daughters from attending Inam's lessons, fearing they would end up unmarried and untraditional like her. But Inam remained unfazed. She enjoyed her work, sharing her knowledge with those who were willing to learn. One sunny day, Inam was teaching when she noticed a commotion outside. Large groups of villagers were gathering, and the sound of their voices grew louder. Unable to resist her curiosity, Inam stepped outside and asked someone what was happening. "Visitors have come from a faraway land, seeking our help," a woman replied. Inam's interest was piqued. Following the crowd to the king's palace, she watched as the king welcomed the visitors, introducing them to the villagers. They were unlike any visitors she had seen before. Travelers from Korea with distinct almond-shaped eyes, smooth fair skin, and straight dark hair. Their elegant clothing and quiet dignity impressed the villagers. Inam knew of Korea from her father's books and was intrigued by these travelers who had come seeking rare herbs that grew only in the village of OC. Deciding to make herself useful, she planned to introduce herself to the visitors the next day and offer her assistance during their stay. The following morning, filled with excitement, Inam ventured into the forest to gather herbs, intending to demonstrate her knowledge to the visitors. She even rehearsed some Korean phrases her father had once taught her, giggling at her own nervousness. While in the forest, she noticed one of the visitors, the group's leader, named Jinho, who was busy examining herbs and taking notes. She hesitated to approach him, feeling suddenly shy. But just as she turned to leave, her foot became tangled in a vine, and she fell, letting out a loud scream. Hearing her, Jinho rushed over and helped her to her feet. "Are you okay?" he asked in English, speaking in hesitant, monosyllabic words. Inam, slightly annoyed by his assumption, replied, "Yes, I can speak English just fine." Jinho apologized for his assumption, and they shared a brief smile. As they began talking, Inam offered to assist his team with the herbs and introduced herself as a teacher, knowledgeable in herbal medicine. Jinho was impressed by her enthusiasm, and they soon fell into a spirited discussion. When Jinho picked up a yellow herb he had been searching for, he excitedly shared its benefits for stomach pain. But Inam countered, suggesting a local herb that she believed was even more effective. Their discussion grew intense, with both of them passionately defending their knowledge of herbs. Inam's pride in her village's wisdom clashed with Jinho's scientific expertise, and they parted with a hint of frustration. Days passed, but Inam and Jinho continued to cross paths. Inam couldn't help but feel a mix of admiration and irritation toward him. One rainy day, as Inam hurried to her classroom, she saw Jinho talking to her students, much to their delight. Greeting him politely, Inam remarked, "I see you found the wrong classroom." With a warm smile, Jinho replied, "I was looking for you, actually." I wanted to apologize. It's okay to disagree, and I respect your knowledge. I may have come across as too rigid, and I'm sorry. Inam, feeling his sincerity, admitted, "The yellow herb is indeed powerful, but I also believe in the wisdom passed down in our village. Maybe there's a way to learn from both." They laughed, and the tension between them softened. Jinho suggested they work together to explore both the traditional herbs and his own scientific findings. Excited by the opportunity, Inam eagerly accepted. As they spent more time working together, they shared stories about their cultures, tried each other's foods, and taught each other their languages, often laughing at their mispronunciations. Slowly, a bond grew between them, built on mutual respect and curiosity. One day, the king introduced a new collaborator, Princess Ura, who would join their herb research team. Ura was graceful and intelligent, bringing her own unique insights and expertise to their work. Though Inam initially felt a spark of jealousy, she soon realized that Ura was genuinely interested in learning and working alongside them. As the weeks passed, the trio made remarkable discoveries, blending traditional wisdom with modern science to create new remedies and improve existing ones. The village's reputation for herbal medicine grew, attracting more visitors and fostering connections beyond borders. Inam, Jinho, and Ura became respected figures in the community, known not only for their skills, but also for the bond they shared, a symbol of unity across cultures. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and bathed the forest in hues of gold and crimson, Jinho approached Inam. "I'll be returning to Korea soon," he said softly, his eyes reflecting the fading light. "But this isn't goodbye." Inam smiled, feeling a mixture of sadness and hope. "You'll always be welcome here, and there's still so much more for us to learn." "I'll come back," Jinho promised, "and when I do, perhaps we can continue our journey together." As they stood beneath the ancient trees, their hands briefly touched, hinting at a promise of more than just knowledge shared. Inam felt a new kind of hope, a hope not tied to what had been lost, but to what lay ahead. She had found not only a partner in exploration, but a kindred spirit, someone who valued the beauty of both tradition and curiosity. With a deep breath, Inam looked around at the village she had always called home. For the first time, it felt as if the world her father spoke of was within reach, and she was ready for whatever the future might bring.